Hi there everyone, I'm Jackie Schiffer reporting with PageantLIVE, and today I'm with your new Miss USA 2019, Cheslie Kryst.
Thank you.
Hi Cheslie, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's exciting to be here. Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with us. So I want to just step back 1 week. What was going through your mind when you were crowned Miss USA?
My mind was completely blank. So the entire time I wasn't nervous while I was on stage, only because I convinced myself that we weren't actually on national television. But when I was finally crowned, I let it all sink in. I just couldn't believe it. I was excited, looking for my mom out in the audience, and thrilled that I got to be the one who gets to be Miss USA now.
And did you grow up with a pageant mom?
Yeah, my mom was Mrs. North Carolina in 2002. So she was crowned in a pageant for married women when I was about 10 or 11 years old. So I watched her win, watched her compete, and watched her represent our state, and knew it was something I wanted to do.
That's amazing. Now, I know that you've competed many times. What is something that kept you going and kept you coming back year after year?
Just getting close. Because I competed in the Miss America system twice, and the second time that I competed, I was first runner-up to Miss North Carolina in 2015, and I aged out of that system, and I thought, is this the end of my pageant journey, or should I try again? I knew about the Miss Universe organization, and I thought, it sounds like something that I could do. It sounds like an organization I want to be involved in. So I tried out, and I was fourth runner-up my first year, top 10, and then I had one more year, one more shot, and I knew I was going to take it.
Any advice for our viewers that have been in that runner-up position year after year and are hoping to take the crown this year?
Just continue to be authentically you, and if you represent yourself in a way that you're proud of, it's not going to matter whether you win or lose. Because there's always a chance that you may never win. That was a chance. There was a possibility for me that even on my last attempt, I wasn't going to win. But it mattered most to me that I went out there and I was myself.
What do you think it was that set you apart from all of the other incredible women that were on stage with you?
You mean besides my hair? No, I think for me, I was just really confident in who I was. I knew that I was going to be different because, like I said, my hair is really different. It's natural, and I was a little bit afraid to wear it that way. But I knew it was going to be different, and I was going to stand out. I'm an attorney, and so I thought that was different from many of the contestants, even though we had an incredible amount of very accomplished women who competed this year. And I knew that my dress was going to be a little simple, but I loved that. So I just knew that being myself was going to be unique enough.
Now, I know that you are a practicing attorney, and that through your pro bono work, you're really committed to working with the incarcerated and perhaps the falsely accused. What drew you to that work?
Yeah, so my stepdad is also an attorney, and he and I work for clients, a client specifically who's been sentenced to life in prison for a low-level drug crime. And what mattered most to us was that our client was sentenced under a 3 strikes law, which meant that he was, convicted of one crime and then another similar crime, and then on the third time that he was convicted of a crime, he was sentenced to life in prison. And for us, we just didn't see the justice or fairness in that kind of sentencing strategy. So we really wanted to work with him and help our client who didn't have his own private attorney, was represented by a public defender who was great. We just wanted to help him.
Okay. And I know you have both a legal and a business background, so how do you connect all of your amazing education into pageantry?
Well, I think it's really cool in that, on the legal side, one of the things that I have to do is I have to stand in front of a judge, or sometimes a jury. I haven't done a jury trial yet, but I have to stand in front of a judge, and I have to convince him or her of a point. And sometimes that means arguing against opposing counsel and understanding their perspective. And that's kind of what you have to do in pageants, You have to stand in front of a panel of judges who you may not know and convince them somehow that you are different than the other contestants you stand next to. So that's sort of how I connect, pageants and the legal system. Now, business is very similar in that if you work in a business, you have to get along with the people who work around you, and you guys have to work together to make sure that you can achieve a goal. And that's what I did with my team, who helped to prepare me for this national competition.
Well, that's incredible. I want to pivot a bit because I understand that you are pretty involved in fashion, both as a philanthropist, working with Dress for Success, and your blog, White Collar Glam. Can you tell me a bit about your work with Dress for Success?
Yeah, so I worked with, Dress for Success. It's an international organization, and I worked with the Charlotte chapter. I did fundraising. This was before I even competed as Miss North Carolina, or for Miss North Carolina USA and became Miss USA. I did fundraising. I volunteered for some of their events, and also did a clothing drive in my firm. And then when I won, it was really cool. We got tons and tons of clothes, because as you can imagine, attorneys were always in suits. We're always in very professional clothing, and so we had a ton of clothing. And I loved that. I loved the work that I did. Now, as Miss USA, I'll get to continue advocating for Dress for Success because it is so meaningful to me.
Are there other organizations or nonprofit causes that you're going to be advocating for as Miss USA?
Yeah, one of the things that I loved doing as Miss North Carolina USA was volunteering for Best Buddies. We did a couple of events. Me and my team did a couple of events for Best Buddies of North Carolina, and I hope to continue to do a few events as Miss USA.
That's amazing. I watched a recent interview of you speaking, and you were talking about the importance of inclusion. How do you think that pageantry has become more inclusive, and how can it continue to be more inclusive?
I think pageantry has become more welcoming to just different people, and that's what inclusion is really all about. And that we have seen more diverse judges. At the Miss USA competition, you saw a panel of incredibly diverse women who had business backgrounds. One was the former CMO of CoverGirl. I was so excited to meet all of them. And I think by bringing in diverse judges, you'll find more diverse contestants. I think the same goes for this specific organization. Walking around this office, you see incredibly diverse people. And so once you diversify the people who are selecting contestants and the judges, diversify the people who are shaping the organization, you'll find more diverse contestants because they feel included. They see themselves represented in the organization.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to a young woman out there who is thinking about competing in Miss USA or another pageant, but she's not sure if she sees herself represented in the brand, so to speak?
You've got to be the trailblazer sometimes. There are women like Carol Gist, like Kenya Moore, who were women of color who competed in Miss USA, even though there weren't many black contestants who had won at that point in time. You have to be like Ashley Love Mills, who is the former Miss North Carolina USA, who I watched compete, who was inspiring to me. Sometimes you have to be the person who does it, and we look forward to people like that. People like that are people who become Miss USA and Miss Universe.
So there's been a lot of discussion recently about the change in the Miss USA and Miss Universe brands. As Miss USA, how do you see yourself being at the forefront of changing the brand?
Oh, I think it's really cool that I'm pretty sure I'm the first practicing attorney who has won Miss USA. And that's exciting to be able to be a part of an organization when it really is celebrating not only the beauty of the women who compete, but also their accomplishments and their careers. So I hope that I can continue that growth and change with the organization.
Absolutely. You're a leader not only by being an attorney, but an athlete, a philanthropist, an entrepreneur. Where do you get all of your energy and motivation?
Really from my mom. My mom has continued to inspire me throughout my life. I watched her raise me and my 5 siblings, work a full-time job, start a business while she was doing that, and she did all of that without a 4-year degree. She's incredibly inspiring, and I knew that regardless of how tired she was, regardless of how hard she worked in a day, how late she got back home, if I needed my mom for anything, she was always there. And so her constant energy always motivated me and continues to do that.
Absolutely. So in your many roles and many hats that you wear, I know that you have your white collar glam.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
I love it. So I started my blog to answer a problem I discovered when I was in law school. I competed on the trial team at Wake Forest, and we won our regional championship, and we were going to the national championship. And so I brought 3 suits with me for the 4-day competition. And on the first day, I ruined my first suit. There was no air conditioning in the courthouse, and so I sweat all the way through my suit. On the second day, I was wearing a suit, and I hopped up on a curb, and my skirt ripped all the way up the back. Yeah, it was terrible. And then my third suit was too big for me, and I was so anxious. I'd lost weight, and nothing fit. And I hated being in that place where I didn't know where to get a suit. I didn't know how to get it fit for me. I didn't know how I was going to afford it. And so when I graduated from law school, I started my blog to answer that problem, the problem I had, and the problem that I knew many other women shared with me.
So we do have an event coming up in New York Fashion Week, High Tech Moda, and I wanted to extend a cordial invitation to you to join us this September. Do you think you'll be able to come out?
Oh, that's so sweet. I'll definitely talk to my manager here and see if we can fit that in.
Oh, wonderful. We'd love to have you.
Thank you.
So I just want to close out what is something that we would never guess about you?
Probably that when I was a little kid, I was a nerd. Like, and I can say that myself. Like, other people can't say it because it sounds rude, right? But I was. Like, I wasn't the kid who got in trouble for talking with my friends during class. I was the kid who got in trouble because I would pull out my Harry Potter book in the middle of math class. Like, that was always me. And it still really is who I am. Like, I love, at the end of the day, just sitting back and, reading a book or looking through Wikipedia and reading movie plots. And I mean, that really is who I am. And I think when I was younger, I felt uncomfortable being that person. But as I've grown into myself, I'm really just confident in who I am, and I know that that's me, and I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. So anything else that you're looking forward to in your upcoming future as Miss USA?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to designing my national costume and my gown for Miss Universe.
Well, we look forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
Cheslie, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, and we wish you all the best at Miss Universe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.